So there are different types of X-ray techniques are there. One is absorption method, diffraction method, and the fluorescence method. Most probably we are using this XRD is a diffraction method. It's a very important in compared to absorption and the fluorescent method of X-rays to identify the crystal structures. So this is a equation. Bragg's equation plays a major role in XRD analysis. That is n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. This is major difficult for the scientists to know the crystal structure using this formula. Still now they can't able to conclude what is the structure of the nanoparticles. There is no exact notes of it. See, this is the first shell and the second shell. When the X-ray fall onto the inner shell, it get excited out, and so that this outer shell electron may fill this inner shell. This is the principle behind this XRD spectrum. Right? This n is equal to order of reflection, and lambda is the wavelength of X-ray, that is ranges from 0.1 to 100 nanometer range. Sorry, 10 nanometers, 0.1 to 10. And D is the plane spacing or lattice space. We can able to say as a space of lattice. Okay, which comprises A is the diameter or radius of the inner nucleus and the outer shell electrons and the middle shell electrons. That is the radius. A indicates that the radius, that is 2. A is equal to 2 or root 2. Yes, 2 or root 2. Value of A radius is, that is circular crystal structure, means 2 or root 2, and crystal lattice or h square, k square and l square. So this is the Bragg's angle. So when you given the sample for the XRD, you may get the 2 theta value and the wavelength value they will be giving, and so using that you need to calculate the what is the crystal structure of the given sample. Right? In diffraction method, under that there are 3 different types of samples can be analyzed. One is law method, rotating crystal method, and one is powder method. Most probably we are using this rotating crystal method for the XRD analysis. So this is the method of calculation to identify the what type of crystal that we have synthesized. From the Bragg's law, we know that n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. So the order of reflection will be there given in a sample. When they give the spectrum result or they given a peak values, they will be give the order of reflection. So lambda value was at what range of wavelength they have used, and between a 0.1 to 10 nanometer scale of X-ray range. And this 2D value we need to find from this formula, that is D is equal to lambda is equal to 2 sine theta. So they give 2 theta values. In spectrum they supposed to give 2 theta values. So we need to divide by 2 so that it will be getting a theta value. So sine, dividing of the theta value by 2, you will be getting a sine theta. So lambda is most probably they use 1.702. So let's take the value of lambda is 1.702 and divide by 2 sine theta, any theta value, and you will be getting a D. From this you can able to find out the D, right? D, using the D value we need to find the what is the crystal lattice, that is what is KHL. So A, if it is a face centered cubic means, or any cubic structure means, the radius, that is A is equal to 2r root square, that is a geometrical radius of the crystal. Okay, so R is equal to 0.2 divide by, that is A is the radius, so that you will be having this one. So A is equal to, for example, it is A is equal to, the value is 0.362 and the D value is 0.2 0.209 nanometer. So nanometer will be cancelled and you will be getting this value. So taking square root on both sides, here the square root will be cancelled, here it's squaring, you will be getting a 3. So evenly you have to give 1 1 1, you will be getting a 3 here, or you may get a chance of 2 1 0, or you may give the chance of 1 1 0. So all the representation of this 3 will be giving the face centered cubic. So these are the possible crystal structures can be seen for the sample. Okay, so this is the exercise for you to find out the what is the crystal structure using the values, and this is a lambda value they have given and 2 theta value. So we have to this is the exercise for you to calculate the to find out the crystal plane, and the solution for that sum. This is a fine XRD spectrum, that is a crystalline nature of the synthesized nanoparticles. So these are the spectrums can be seen. Most accurately it is a crystalline structure of the spectrum, crystalline spectrum of the nanoparticle. And next we are going to see about electron energy loss spectroscopy. Change in kinetic energy of electrons after diffractor with a specimen. Change in kinetic energy, that is movement energy, motion energy of electrons, that is from a inner shell to outer shell. That energy is going to be manipulated by the spectroscopic method of analysis. Okay. When material is exposed to a beam of electron with a known energy, they may change in the kinetic energy of those staggered electrons. That is, they may be happening of elastic scattering and inelastic scattering. Right? These inelastic interactions include photon excitation, intra and interband transition, plasmon excitation, and inner shell ionization. So inelastic scattering, this is going to take place when the primary electron strikes the atom. What happens? The mid of the gap between the two shells, it may cause the inelastic scattering, and near to the nucleus it may cause the elastic scattering, and some may cause the unscattered. So these are the different effect produces the energy loss electron spectrum. So this is how the spectrum will be formed, that is elastic peak. When the electron strikes the atom, that is exact atom or near to the atom, it may cause elastic scattering, so it gives a single peak of elastic peak. Okay, the geometry of how the atom is going to strike out the sample and how it is going to scattered in nature. Right? This is another spectrum of the energy loss electron spectroscopy. Next we are going to see about microscopic techniques, that is imaging techniques. What is electron microscope? Before entering into deep, we have to know what is electron microscope. Electron microscope, with the help of electron beam, you are going to scan the sample or image the sample surface and to know the morphological structure of the specimen or sample. That is happening in case of electron microscopic analysis. Okay, it may give this much times of better image compared to the light microscope method of analysis. So the electrons are very much smaller than the visible light, so we can able to analyze the sample in depth manner with the help of the focused ion beams. Okay, so there are 4 different imaging techniques are there. transmission electron, that is TEM, scanning electron SEM, scanning transmission STM, and one more thing is the scanning tunneling microscope. And this high resolution electron microscope is nothing but higher magnification of this TEM modified imaging that can be done with the high resolution HR-TEM. We called as HR-TEM. So first we are going to see about transmission electron microscope. Here from the name itself we can define the technique, that is you are going to transmit the electron into the specimen. The beam of electron is transmitted through the ultra-thin specimen. The interacting of this electron with the specimen cause the image formation. In a two form, one is diffracted form and another one is a imaging mode. Imaging mode and the diffraction mode is taking place in case of this transmission electron microscopic technique. Okay, these are the different parts of the TEM and advantages of the TEM. Okay, next is a scanning electron microscope. Here you are going to scan the surface of the specimen. Here you will be getting only 3D image of the specimen. Here you can able to get the 3D visualization of the nanoparticles in case of TEM. Case of SEM, you can able to visualize the specimen, that is a morphological structure. There you can able to get the 3D visualize of the synthesized nanoparticle. Here a sample scanning it with a high energy beam of electron, either in a raster scan pattern or vector scan pattern. Two types of scanning are there. Raster scan, just like that in a surface. One more thing is vector scan. It is going along with the XY in vectors. HR-TEM, nothing but high resolution transmission electron microscope. It is a advanced technique of the TEM electron microscopic technique. Here we can able to image the crystallographic structure of the sample at an atomic scale. In this method we can able to get two different images. Okay, so this is the principle of TEM. It is a stream of electron focused to the suitable electric magnetic fields. The electron get diffracted and phase difference can be takes place in the sample. So this is the laboratory view of HR-TEM. This is a two mode of image formation in HR-TEM, that is image mode and diffraction mode. Here it is going to exhibit a diffracted beam so that you are going to get a diffracted pattern of the image. Here it is going to be focused beam of electrons so that you are getting this image mode of HR-TEM analysis. So these are instrumentation parts and their description. So additional information, and the sample preparation is very important in SEM analysis and TEM analysis. Whether you used to make a thin film or a powder form or a coating, you have to make in a very aseptic condition. So these are the three kinds of mode of samples can be analyzed in the electron microscopic analysis. So how the structures can be, that is a diameter, how they marking this diameter in a SEM, you may see that by comparing the grains at a fixed magnification in a standard grain chart. Okay, so American Society of Testing and Materials, they are giving some standard chart to calculate the diameter of the synthesized nanoparticles using this formula. At a fixed magnification, how much number of nanoparticles are present and their diameters can be calculated by using this formula. So this is very important thing. For your reference, you can refer this Cottrell's theory to know about how they are calculating the diameter of the grains. Okay, so G is equal to, this is a formula, Na. Na is nothing but number of grains in a per magnification meter. Okay, from the G you are going to calculate the diameter of the each one grains. So this is represented in a Cottrell's theory. This is a theory which is used to calculate the diameter of the nanoparticles. The modified, that is advanced technique of this scanning electron microscope is atomic force microscopy. Here, the force between the sample surface, that is coated nanoparticle, and the AIFM tip is a high of nanotechnology. We can so call this technique as a high of nanotechnology, and is also referred as scanning probe microscopy. Okay. So it works, different forces between a tip and the surface can be measured. This mechanical contact, van der Waals force, capillary, chemical, electrostatic, Casimir solvation. So these are the different parts of the AFM. This is a schematic setup of the AFM. The laser strikes over the cantilever tip of the AFM. What is the deflection is happening in the cantilever tip of the AFM is going to be calculated by this incident X-ray, and it gets reflected towards a photodiode, and it's connected to the detector to get the sampling image of the surface of the sample. So this is the laboratory view of the AFM equipment. And this is the advantage of the AFM. AFM works on a 3 different modes, that is contact mode, intermittent contact, and non-contact mode. That is, contact mode means this cantilever tip is going to rush over the sample surface. In non-contact mode, it is going to move over the surface with a certain distance. And intermittent contact means it is going to tip-tap over the sample surface is going to happen. So 3 different modes of working can be seen in case of AFM, that is atomic force microscopic technique. Okay, and advantages of AFM and applications. Next is a EPMA, that is electron probe micro analyzer. It is our advanced technique of the AFM. This is our theory part. This is not that much scope in nanotechnology, but these are the techniques can be used to study the nanoparticles, those morphological and functionalization of the nanoparticles with biomolecules can be studied by these techniques, microscopic techniques. Applications, limitations, and the EDAX, it is energy dispersive X-ray analysis. To know the how much purity of your compound that you are synthesized can be calculated by this EDAX along with the SEM or along with the X-ray method. That is the advantage of this EDAX technique. So that you may get a fine peak because you are synthesize a metal ion of pure component means you may get a fine beam that can be achieved in the EDAX spectrum. That is the advantage of this EDAX spectrum. Whether your research is focused on a single compound of metal ion for the end application, that can be analyzed by this EDAX spectrum. So EDAX, what happens? The K shell is identified by the K alpha peak. That is same like energy loss spectroscopic method. Here also your electron is going to be loose out to the outer shell, and some other electrons from the outer shell is going to be fill the vacant electron of the inner shell. That is happening. That is the principle behind this EDAX. So your peak will be look like this. Fine high peak will be getting in a EDAX spectrum. That is the advantage of the this technique. Okay, applications and advantages. And we have moved to the end part of the characterization technique. That is this is something different from those 2 methods, that is spectroscopic and microscopic method of nanomaterial analysis. This is a nanoaddentation. It is mainly preferred to identify the mechanical property of the nanomaterials or nanomaterials coated surfaces. Okay, nanoaddentation is a method to characterize the material and test its mechanical property on a very small scale manner. Here, you are going to test the mechanical properties of the materials. It's nothing but you're going to load some amount of weight onto the tip of the nano indentation equipment, and that tip is going to brought into contact with the sample surface. How depth it is going to move into the sample surface, or to identify the pit which is present in a railway tracks. That is not going to be done with this nano indentation technique. So optimizing material composition, why it is important? To optimize the material composition structure, what type of material is coated in a preferred matter surface, whether it is contaminated or whether it is a desired thing is coated, that can all be analyzed by this nano indentation technique. So these are the measuring deformation can take place when the load applied to the material means, that is dislocation, nucleation, crack growth, elastic modulation, hardness, fracture toughness. Right? How it is works? Load is applied to the identer in contact with the specimen. As the load is applied, the depth of penetration is measured. This is the principle behind this indentation technique. So that area can be tested with the help of this AFM imaging. So we have to do experimentally with the identer, and that experimented specimen has to be analyzed with the help of this AFM. This is all the techniques or combination to get an end application. That is the use of this nanotechnology. It is so there are different identer tips are available. That is 3-sided pyramid shaped diamond tips that are most probably used identer to image the samples. So nano indentation is used to determine the hardness and elastic modulus of the materials. This nano indentation technique is very much important in case of biomaterials. So this is a schematic representation of indentation. Identer tip, the load is you are going to apply here. So this is your specimen. How much it is going to move into the depth of the specimen is going to be analyzed. So this is the applications of nano indentation. So this is what is going to be happen when you apply the load. When you apply the load to the sample means your sample may get extended. So it may enter into the elastic or plastic state. First it is going to enter into the elastic state of deformation and continues to move towards the plastic deformation and get fracture and get necking. This is what chart is going to be analyzed with this nano indentation technique. These are the applications can be seen by this nano indentation. It's mainly useful for the biomaterials and some types of electronic devices and surface coatings. So we have done an experiment on Calipara taxifolia. It's for your view. And experiment on Calipara taxifolia mediated synthesis of gold nanoparticles and its characterization. We have done with the Calipara taxifolia is one of the toxic algae which is present in a river, ocean and lakes. Okay. When the chlorhydric acid, the extract of this Calipara taxifolia is added to the chlorhydric acid solution, that is a light yellow in color, that change into wine red in color. This indicates that by the visual observation of this color change indicates that the gold nanoparticles were synthesized. And we went with the primary confirmation with the UV spectrum. That's a single band formation indicates that the synthesized nanoparticles are spherical in shape. If it is appearance of another one band at above 700 means the synthesized nanoparticles are of different shapes, can be analyzed. So single band formation, that is single SPR band formation, indicates that the synthesized nanoparticle, gold nanoparticles are of spherical in shape. Further it is confirmed with the SEM image of those synthesized nanoparticles. It is in the range of 40 to 51 nanometer. And further the nanoparticle synthesis were analyzed with the FTIR for the presence of functional groups. The presence of functional groups is mainly of this bioresource, that is algae, which is having those functional components that is concluded by a GCMS analysis. What are the components present in the extractor? So this is one of the experiment. One of the mini project we have done with this Califero taxifolio for the synthesis of gold nanoparticles. And also I have some AFM images. That is, we did that coating of silver nanoparticles for the antimicrobial inhibition and anti-corrosion property of the metal. And this is the 2D view of the silver nanoparticles which we have coated, and this is the 3D image which is shown the clear coating of the Ag nanoparticles onto the metal surface, and this 3D views histogram was shown here. This much closely it is going to be coated. It is coated on a metal surface, and this is a AFM image of the another one sample which we prepared in the lab, that is silica oxide of the AFM image. Right? Thank you. In a further class, the next day we are going to see about what are the applications in the nanotechnology and how it is going to be helpful in a future in various sectors. Right? And further it is going to be with drug delivery. Due to pandemic period, we are going to mainly see with how the drug delivery is going to be actually using this nanoparticles.